Irene will be underway in a few minutes. They're just about to toss a coin.
Well, welcome back to our live feed here at the Geelong Showgrounds, and we're getting ready for the second test, Australia versus New Zealand. Our first competitor for Australia will be Mick Hudson with his little dog called Rabbit. New Zealand have won the toss and elected Australia to go in first, to have first crack at them, and the weather and the conditions are pretty wild. We've had hail, storms, and the breeze is still blowing. So what that does to the sheep remains to be seen, but anything could happen. So Rabbit's gone. Rabbit's gone on a big sweeping left-hand cast. Beautiful moving dog coming in deep behind the sheep. Perfect stop. Mick Hudson put a good show on yesterday. Led Australia with the rest of the team to their first test win. But it's not over until all three tests are completed. So Australia could put it out of question today with a good result. But the Kiwis have done really well in their Supreme runs. Got a couple into the top 10. Starting to get familiar with the conditions and the sheep and the way things are all operating, so they'll improve. And it sets us up for a great contest. So Rabbit's arrived really nicely. The lift has gone very nicely and they're walking, which is a good sign. Not too runny, not too light. Just swirling around a little bit. Really the first contact with their heads, Rabbit steps in. So direct straight line to where Mick is standing, around the handler's post behind him. They'll go on the left side of him. Round behind and away they go into the Australian part of the trials. He'll carry them on his right hand side. Really important to try and get on good terms with the sheep. Little breakaway there, spinning. And you can see the flags in the background. They are just blowing sideways. So we've got a nice calm atmosphere up here in the commentary box, but those guys out on the field, they're going to feel it. So Rabbit's done a beautiful job. Brought them down, round behind Mick. He swings around to catch them. Just taking a few seconds to get on good terms, and away he goes. He's decided to go. 15 minutes to complete the trial. Plenty of time, provided there's no hiccups. And so far so good. The sheep have been pretty good. Walking nicely. We saw yesterday's test. The sheep were a bit of a mixed bag. Even in lines, red tag weathers. But some of them just really didn't want to stick around. And these ones have gone for a little run up the ground. Rabbit's there, catching the lead. Holds them up. Mick catches up. It's that 9 metre corridor, very narrow. Got to keep them in that corridor, not let them go left or right, outside of the corridor. And Mick he's to walk over the cones, over the markers, on the left-hand side of that corridor, keeping the sheep on his right. And each time they break away more than 9 metres, the judge's pencil will come out. And the little sheep just walking at Rabbit. Boy, she was quick. Her footwork, she spun him around. And she's not to be messed with. This is a really experienced winning dog that's won a lot of competitions and trials for Mick. And she just went nose to nose with that sheep as it thought about running. And then Mick took her off them and just built a gate around the fence. Built a little fence around the sheep before they go through the gap and straight through. Nicely done. It's into the drive, and they're away. Those sheep ahead got a little jog on. And Mick's onto it. 50-50 task here. The dog's got to be involved. Can't be Mick moving the sheep alone. And he's just got Rabbit sitting in a nice little pocket there off to the right. Sheep have a bit of a run. Now Mick has to get his skates on a little bit, catch up. And the first of the New Zealand obstacles. That Maltese cross. You see Mick's just trying to guide them into that free working area. He's got there and he's just bent their heads towards the first opening. They look pretty good at the moment. Rabbit holds her side. In they go. Straight through. Beautifully done. Rabbit's back around onto them for the second part of this Maltese cross. Mick just giving them a little bit more room. Doesn't want to squeeze them too tightly here. It's like a tube of toothpaste. If they're both pressing from either side, they'll squeeze out and not always back into where they need to go. He's got them. Little side step worked. Stepping in, trying to roll their heads towards that opening. They're just having a little nibble on the grass. Not too fussed about anything at the moment. It's a good sign, but they could get heavy and they could put in a challenge. And they could also run away still. There's still plenty up. They've got plenty up their sleeve, I'm sure. Rabbit weaving backwards and forwards. Sheep had a little go for the side. Turning in straight through. Look at that. Don't want them down that side. Straight out the front. Well, that looked pretty good. Just a tiny bit of patience. Not hurrying it. And just gets them in a good frame of mind. So away they go. On to the next part of the drive. Towards the bridge. You see the handler's allowed to run. They're allowed to move quickly. They're just not allowed to get in front of that lead sheep. Always got to be behind that lead sheep before they get into the free working area. And Mick and Rabbit are making it look easy. Just haven't quite crossed that handler's line. So Mick had to pause for a second there. We got sheep stopped, dog shot stopped, and sheep stopped, and that's not what they want. They want to keep flow, keep the movement of the sheep moving along nicely. And look, they really don't care about Rabbit at the moment. They're too busy having a bit of a green pick on the grass. And she's got them moving in into the mouth of that bridge, straight up. Wow. On the bridge, off they come. Pretty tidy run so far by Mick and Rabbit. Puts the pressure back on New Zealand. If you can get the pen, and this section worth 30 points, very important. Australian section. And the sheep just sometimes go a little silly as they come off that bridge, and maybe they know the end's close and they want to head back home. So Rabbit wheels around, gets them moving. It's just that stop and go and stop and go. There's no real consistency in the sheep. They're just putting their heads down and stopping, and then Rabbit has to come in, move them again. But she's doing it really nicely. She's not making them run. She's not making them jump. She's just touching them, getting them just ticking over, and now they're sitting in Mick's hip pocket beautifully off to his right. And it's a picture, and he'd be feeling pretty good. But the pressure mounts as they approach that pen, and we've seen over the trial that the pen can be the undoing of plenty of good runs. So what can he do here? Rabbit's coming that side and then switches to the other side. Got to keep them on track, don't want them down that far side of the pen. Mick takes his position, a little deep breath, hands on his hips. He's got them pretty nicely set. One's had a look. Little head up, turns out. Pressure's on here. They didn't like the look of that pen. They turned out and they thought, well, we're not getting caught. That looks like a trap. Rabbit, little movement left, little movement right. They're sitting up. A little roll around. One's having a look out. Rabbit's there. Don't let them go. One's gone down the side. They've split. Wow, that is what can happen. That pen, so crucial. So crucial. And the pressure just goes up a little. Goes up a notch as they step into that circle. And those sheep looked like they were just going to do whatever Rabbit wanted until they got in the mouth of that pen, and then they decided, nope, we're not doing that. Let's see what happens. Got them moving a bit. Oh, one down the side. Two down the side. Heart in your mouth stuff. Time's ticking away. He's got to get these sheep back in front. And he's just having a little battle with that. Mick Hudson with Rabbit. Had a beautiful run to this point, and they've just started to rattle off a couple of points. What can he do? Oh, Rabbit's run too far, and they've ducked back around away from her. Just can't seem to dominate the sheep at the moment. And they're just wandering around, not too fast, more interested in the grass. He's got them moving in a little better direction, breaking out a little bit. Okay, here comes the lineup. They have seen the gap between Mick and the gate, and that's not a good thing. Once they're comfortable with ducking through there, they have no fear. That swirling wind. Pressure's on. Rabbit comes around. She's got to be quick. She's there. Got to be quick back the other way. She's looking for the gap. Heading in the right direction. Stepping in. And this is where the trouble started last time. Just as they thought there was a block. Oh, Rabbit had to be on her toes. She's got 3 minds to coax. They're right in the right position. It's only half a metre. Just got to step backwards, sheep. Inching them forward. One's had a break. Rabbit's there. Maybe this time. Oh, good block. Wow, tension's high. He got there with plenty of time. And sometimes that doesn't always pay off. They're rolling. Oh, one's down the side. She's got it. Well, everything's going wrong for the moment for Mick. They just don't want to go into that pen. One's had a look now, rolling around. Back the other way, back. Looking better. He'll go for that gate as soon as they cross that line. You know he will. He's got one looking. Turns him in. Now they're going in. They're in. Mick's going for the gate. Up he goes. Mick Hudson and Rabbit shutting the gate for Australia. Great results. Tough trial. And boy, if that's the start of things we're going to see, we're in for a treat this afternoon. So Stuart Child, first competitor for New Zealand, steps to the post. We'll wait on Mick's score. It was a pretty good run, just that pen. And wasn't the tension pretty high there? They just didn't want to go in. But he got the job done. So the pressure now on Stuart with Diesel. Had a good trial so far. Already had a run this morning out in the Supreme, and he's a beautiful moving dog. Great, leggy, smooth-coated dog. Impressive to watch. So Stuart sent Diesel, 4-year-old Diesel, off on the right-hand cast. Look at him go all the way around the back, nice and deep. Superb condition. Super fit. And they need to be. They've got a lot of work to do this week. He's arrived deep again, and the sheep have lifted nicely. Little trot on. And it's just the difference in the presence of the dogs. You see the white dog of Rabbit was able to get nice and close to the sheep, and actually had to bump them a little bit because they really didn't bother about it too much, but it's exactly what they needed. Diesel, much bigger distance off the sheep, much more presence. And they'll be working hard to get in there and get in contact and get these sheep on good terms. Stuart whistling from the post, and on every whistle that dog instantly responds. Diesel's right on the game. And Diesel just starting to move a little closer to the sheep. Sheep has settled a little bit, having a bit of a nibble. It's a good sign. And in comes Diesel. Right, they're away. He just comes in, he just touches them. Gets them to move. And he's just breaking down that flight zone, getting closer as he can. A little confrontation, a little conversation going on out there at the moment. That lead sheep stomping his feet. And Diesel holding his ground. He takes a step in, stomping his feet again. And sheep saying, get away from me. And Diesel's going, well, you're the one that's going to have to move, pal. Inches closer. And sheep gave a little bit of ground then. Oh, his mates joined into the fight. So now Diesel's got 2 to deal with. Steps in again. And steps in again. What's going to happen here? This is tight. The tension. He needs to win this battle. If he wins this battle, these sheep will start to work a little better. It's a Mexican standoff, all right. They're both not giving ground. In fact, the sheep's coming forward. Might not be a good idea. I think Diesel's got a little bit more in his armoury than the sheep realise. And they've given up and turned off him. Not completely, though. And a little bit further. He's getting closer. And that sheep's lining him up. What's going to happen here? This could be bad. Oh, Diesel, on his job. Did a great job. Held his nerve, didn't he? He had to. He just didn't flinch. And then he impressed the sheep enough to say, righto, keep moving. And he's got them moving a little better now. That's good. Good signs for Diesel and Stuart Child. Drifted off to the right a little bit. Probably not as straight as he would like. But it's important that he wins these battles and gets those sheep moving off the dog. Once again, that swirling, strong wind. Sheep coming in. Oh, Diesel's had a nip. Not sure the judge would have been able to see entirely what happened there. He needed to do something. Won't cost him too much. But he had to say, well, don't mess with me. And he did it. You can see them. That swirling wind. Bit of sunshine, which is a good thing. But there's still cloud cover in the background. We've had a pretty wild old morning. The Diesel's brought him around behind the post, around behind the handler's post, and he'll start them on their trek back up the ground towards this first obstacle, the gap. Just bringing them in. And the pressure's a little less coming up the ground, and they do want to run, so all that push to get them to where Stewart was standing. Now he comes into holding a little bit of hold and carry. But he's sitting in a nice position. They had a little run. Diesel's onto it. Broken out around behind Stewart. Diesel's back on the job. Nose to nose with that sheep. That sheep's giving him some trouble. We might end up seeing this sheep being the problem for this run, because it's the same guy again that stepped forward to take on Diesel. Diesel's having to come in and move him. And he just got a little bit behind where Stewart's walking. And now they've broken out off the other side. So a point or two here on this part of the trial. Doesn't hurt him too badly, because it's very important that he gets the sheep in a good frame of mind, ready for the drive. Hanging on to the head again. The sheep was coming forward, and Diesel wasn't backing down. Stewart just had a little stop then. And now they've broken through behind the gap. So just a bit of a battle hanging on to these three. They're not being the most cooperative three. And Diesel's having to work extra hard to get them to cooperate. Stuart's taking his position in the handler's circle now, and Diesel's just manoeuvring them a little closer to that gap. And that big sheep, he just keeps turning around and looking. They've seen the opportunity to break around if they can. Diesel's onto it. Look at him standing tall, making himself look bigger. Chest up. Stepping in. He's done everything he can to make sure that they impress by him. So they're inching towards that gap. They won't look away from the dog. The little guy might take him through. Yes, turns them. You want him to walk through it, not explode. The pressure can't get too much. Stuart will be aware of that. He just want him to roll through. There they go. Nicely done. Little run on. And Diesel's catching that leader again. So into the drive. Got him nicely placed in the middle of the ground. Stuart steps in to help Diesel, because you can see that he's just having a battle with these sheep. That helps a lot, because he's got them moving pretty nicely now. Diesel keeps having to hold that head. Lets them go again. Now maybe a little bit of relief for a moment as they trot towards that Maltese cross. Our first competitor out was Mick Hudson. Did a terrific job, got to the pen. And then the wheels fell off a little bit, but not so much that he didn't post a pretty good score. And we'll find that out shortly. Out there at the moment is Stuart Child with Diesel. Terrific job yesterday working these sheep, and had a great day in the Supreme. Put in a pretty good score, progressing through the top 10. But now we're in test 2, and just having a little bit of difficulty with the three that have presented for him. They just don't want to give up, and Diesel's having to work his heart out to impress them enough to keep them moving, keep them heading towards that Maltese cross. They're well positioned, lining them up. In they go, nicely done. Oh, might have gone a little early there. No, he caught them in good time. A little breakaway. Diesel's onto it. Swings them around straight through. Wow, that was pretty good. Pretty handy stockmanship there. And got him. And he puts a block on so they're not getting away. And again, just a bit of arm action, bit of shepherding. Now he's got to get his skates on. Oh, they're putting it all out there at the moment. Really important he doesn't get ahead of his sheep, but he has to hold that pressure pretty well because they seem to want to break back to the middle of the ground. Here they go again, run for it, switches sides with the dog this time. It's a loss of 1 point for that, but it's just better for the dog that the dog holds his end, because these sheep, they're going to run faster than Stuart can. And he looked like he could sprint a little bit, but I don't think he was going to sprint that fast, and he couldn't go outside of the corridor himself without a loss of points. So changing sides. Now they're stepping into that free working area. Hopefully the sheep are going to help. Oh, they're trying to break back. They're giving him a world of pain at the moment. And in they go. So up towards the bridge. Still pretty flinchy. Leading up. Straight up. Beautifully done. And Diesel's going to have to come and get him off by the look of it. They just stopped on the lip. And just send Diesel up, will he? No, he didn't need to. They jumped off themselves. So that was all right. And in the background, that big tree just rocking and rolling with the wind. As the sheep make another break across the ground. Onto the wrong side of where Stuart needs them. He's got to bring them back onto his right-hand side. And they're just hanging out there on the left. And Diesel still having a negotiation with that sheep. So back on course, that's good. And we head towards the pen. Little run, breakaway on the outside this time. I don't know what's going on in their heads. They just have a little skip and a run, and then they stop, and then they challenge. And Stuart's got to deal with all of these issues. Heading towards that pen. And we saw in run 1 with Mick Hudson that the pen was definitely not a gimme, no matter how much work you've done. But Diesel, pretty good dog. He's been up around this pen a couple of times already this week. Hopefully he knows his job. He's got him running a little bit. Stuart takes his position. Big sheep at the front with his head up. Leading in the right direction at the moment. Looking around. Stomps his feet. Just a build-up of pressure. Nose to nose with that sheep again. Look at him. He's turning to look at Diesel. And Diesel just parallels around him. Little arc, side step. Step in. Roll him around the others. Maybe he'll lead them in. Bit of run. One's fighting, two are running. Oh, that's not the scenario he wants. Oh, he's good enough. Looking good. Great position. Inching them back. Oh, sheep's coming out to fight. Diesel's had a little nip on the nose. He had to put that block in. Didn't hurt him too much. Maybe it's enough to impress the sheep. They're right at the mouth. Little rolling. They're rolling. They're not happy. Two heads are looking to go. Diesel's got them. He's going for the gate. And he gets the gate shut. Stuart Child with Diesel for New Zealand posting their first score. Terrific trial. So Mick Hudson in his first round for Australia put on a great score of 89.75. We just had Stuart Child out there for New Zealand. We'll wait on his score. Stepping up to the post now is Jeff Gibson with Gibson's Polly. Had a little bit of trouble yesterday in the round. This has been a terrific dog. As Jeff sends her nice and wide out on the right-hand cast. And the sheep have already got a little run up. And she goes very deep. Hasn't quite got there yet as they're wandering away. Just needs to catch their eye and get their attention. He's got their attention all right because they've started to run. And Polly, beautiful, rough-coated black and white border collie. So Jeff just gets to the sit. So they're just that first contact. And it's really now in the middle of the ground where the first contact's occurring. She couldn't quite get to them. They were already gone. And this weather and these conditions, they get the sheep a bit stirred up. And when they're let out into the bigger open arena, they take their chances. They run, they spook. And they've even been fighting so far. So they're bringing everything to the table. The contest, the sheep, challenging at best. And Polly's done a pretty nice job. They haven't gone too far, wandering all over the place. But she hasn't put any work in yet, and that remains to be seen. We saw yesterday she had a little bit of trouble hanging on to them. They just faced her up on occasions as well, and so far this looks a lot better. She's impressing them enough. Beautiful movement, nice arc around her sheep. And they approach Jeff at the handler's post. And around they go. How fast she is, speeding along. Breaks out a little bit wide. The sheep have just taken a couple of metres off of there off to Jeff's right. And the judge has stepped in and he's got his pencil out already. New Zealand judge out there. Pat Coogan. And the Aussie judge in the buggy, Billy Davison. They won't miss much. So Jeff's away, he's gone walking. He's got to continually walk on the left-hand side of that 9-metre corridor, and he's got to carry his sheep on his right-hand side, and ideally within those two tram lines, but they've broken away now and broken away quite a distance. Polly was just caught a little bit out of position then, and they took advantage. See how she just bends her body to cover, puts herself sideways to make herself big both ways. Big loping stride she's got. And Jeff just spins her around, building fences. He just puts the dog everywhere he thinks the sheep want to go and holds them up if he can. There he's put her out on this far right-hand side. Now onto the head. And just blocking those sheep up, and the sheep go, okay, well, where can we go? And hopefully he can educate them enough to say, well, the only place you can go is through that gap. One's had a look already. Polly was good. She got right out wide, got to the head, and then just bounced back. And Jeff, the wind is howling on, his jacket's up. Just taking a moment now to settle things down. Little sheep there at the front, just taking a step forward. You know he's going to go somewhere. Just flinching a bit, stirring. Polly's just hanging on to the head. She's saying, well, they're going to go. I can feel it. I'm not going to let them, but she's got to let them through that gap without exploding them. Through they go. Beautifully done, but they're running. Now they've broken out. So Jeff's going to go through the gap. Polly's got to bring them back on course. Not too far off if they're off at all. She just straightens them up and away they go. So Jeff's on the drive. Polly switches sides. And the weight of the sheep is back up the ground to the let out. So it's better having the dog on the top just simply because of that draw. And these guys don't seem too fussed about that. They're more worried about eating grass and getting away from the dog. So hasn't come to play at the moment, but Jeff would much prefer to have Polly out on the ride, I think, and he's done that. Now they're making a little run. And now they're breaking the other way. Polly's over there to help. Jeff's got to be careful he doesn't step out of that corridor. Sheep are broken out. Very experienced trialer Jeff Gibson, represented Australia a number of times from Queensland. He'd have all the tricks. So they line up now for that first entry, and they've just gone straight in. So all that mucking around, and they've gone straight in. Oh, they've come out the other side. Well, that's what Jeff didn't want. So he'll have to rework it now. He'll have to bring them back around. And that was unfortunate because that was looking good, but just caught him flat-footed a little bit. They got to the middle and went sharp left. And that's the trap of the Maltese cross. There's openings on all four sides, and those sheep can choose whichever one they want. And it's up to the handler and the dog to make sure they don't. And Jeff was just a little bit behind, or the dog was just a little bit close, and he just bent them to the left, and out they came. So not too much damage done, just a little bit of time and the odd point or two, but he's got them set for the next part of it. Let's see if this time, you can see Jeff's taken a different position this time. He's getting ready to block that opening. Here they go. This time they go through. Brought the dog around as well. Or they're looking the other way this time. No, they've gone through. Whew. Well, Jeff can't take a step inside that cross to help. The dog can go in, but Jeff's really contained to this side of the obstacle. He's not allowed to encroach within the obstacle with any part of his body. And he's only allowed to really work the outside like he did. So a bit limited. And it's the dog's job to recover if the sheep do make a bend in the wrong way. So there's a lot to think about when you're working these obstacles. One is got to watch your sheep. Two, you got to watch your dog. And three, you got to be aware of your own position. And they've just broken past Jeff again. Well, that's unfortunate. Struggling a little bit, and you can see again that swirling strong breeze has blown up. And these sheep are getting a little bit cranky. He's got a pretty good leader at the front there. Jeff just steps himself out of the way so he's not influencing him too much. Well, he's turned around, had a spin. And Polly comes up to their nose. Jeff pushing him. Here we go this time. Just moving towards the mouth. That Maltese cross. Rolls them around. And in they go. Now, which way are they going to go? Straight through. Whoa. Oh, that was a bit tough, and Polly's broken out this way. I'm not sure Jeff saw that. It's not quite clear yet. Don't need them circling back. Now they're away. Okay, onto the drive. So that Maltese cross created a couple of headaches there for Jeff. And every point is so important in these high-level test matches between Australia and New Zealand. Jeff just holding his side. Well, I think one of the cones is blown away even. Something's coming across the ground there in front of those sheep. That's how strong that wind is. Heading towards the bridge. And that free working area, judges pocketed it to put it back in so they can see where they're scoring from. 15-metre corridor, this part of the course. 15 metres is a nice and wide area to work in. But when they get a run on, it's not very much room at all. So far, they've been pretty cooperative. Big sheep, lead sheep's having a look. Polly's off to the left, holding on to it. Just tucking in behind his eye. Trying to steer him onto that bridge. Sheep's turned to look at Polly. Little confrontation. Jeff steps in. Oh, Jeff's got to get a move on as well. Everybody's on their toes today. They're right on that ramp now. And up they go. Good job. And this time, straight off. Yesterday, Polly had to go up there and shift them. And I've got a horrible feeling she might have copped a point or two for doing it because she didn't do it in a nice way. And there was a bit of controversy about the scoring, but I think that's what happened. One judge saw a nip and the other one didn't. So they're ready to go off the bridge. And Jeff certainly wasn't going to risk it this time. He kept Polly on the ground. So into that corridor. This is the Australian part of the course again. It's divided into 4 sections, 2 for New Zealand and 2 Australian section, and plus the cast and draw, and it's allocated points for each section. So it is sectionalised. So if the dog does an indiscretion that's deemed harsh enough, they can lose the full section. And this particular section here where they're working in at the moment is 30 points, so it can cost you dearly. He'll get whatever remains of his 10 points when he steps into his circle. And then 20 points on the pen. The pen's really important. And boy, that wind has really, really picked up now. The sheep are having a run. Polly's there to cover. Comes backwards. Just going to look down the side. Polly's there again. They look settled. They look in a good position. He's not mucking around. He's going to get him in there. Got to be a little bit careful. Don't need a breakaway. Don't need a challenge. But so far that's been good. Jeff's had a pretty good run without the sheep getting too upset. One's gone in. 2 are turning. 3. Polly holds the ground. Get that gate shut, Jeff, for Australia. Picks it up. And gate shut. Jeff Gibson for Australia and Polly. Gibson's Polly doing a terrific trial. We'll wait on their scores. So we're on to Scott Hunter with Lucy for the New Zealand team. Second competitor. First competitor for New Zealand was Stuart Child with Diesel. He scored a 73.5. Pretty good run all round. And Scott and Lucy out there at the moment. Smooth-coated black and white dog. Done a really nice wide cast. Arrived deep. And he's got him moving already, so... New Zealand with the job ahead of him. I'll see what Jeff Gibson got. Had a few little hiccups around the ground, so we'll see how he holds on. But it's been neck and neck the whole trial. Both tests tightly fought. And Lucy. Concentration, picture of concentration out there. And tail up like an arrow, stepping in. And there we go, the sheep are impressed. They move away. We got an individual there, lead sheep's just run off on its own a little bit. So Lucy will need to just get them to stay together at least. And then impress them enough to move. So a couple of jobs the dog's got to do. And they're just, you can see he's got a pretty good leader there, clear leader, but it looks like a bit of an individual and it's breaking away again. The other two are following. I think Lucy's got a work cut out with these three. They don't look like they're going to be the easiest sheep. These really are the best of the best, these dogs. Anything you throw at them, they'd handle. And Scott, experienced trialer from New Zealand. Working sheep every day of his life, so he's pretty familiar with what sheep can do. You can see that big guy, he's got his head up. The other two are not too fast, they're grazing away. And he's just on the far side of the sheep with his head up, and he keeps turning to look at the dog and take his chances. I've gone around the winding peg pretty nicely. A little bit off course at the back there, just into that ditch. Wandering towards the fence. Oh, that sheep's having a run now. Lucy, onto it. Fast as lightning. And just stirring a little bit. Everything's happening. A little break again. He's got to be so quick with the commands, and the dog's got to take control at times, and handler's got to take control. There's so much in it. And while these top guys make it look easy, it really isn't. So Scott's gone for a little stroll. He's walking up the ground. And Lucy just coaxing those sheep along. And that big guy's having a little run again. Lucy was a bit flat-footed there. She's just let him wander off course a little bit. He's got left behind. And now he's swinging back the other way. Look at him go. He's got a bit of a trot on. Off to the left again. Weaving left and right. And that narrow corridor looks a heck of a lot narrower when they start to run like that. You think you got them under control and everything's looking good, and the next minute they're breaking out left, breaking out right, and here they go again. And Lucy, she's just having to hang on tight. Scott's a cool customer, hands in his pockets. Striding out. And the New Zealand black, looking good, sharp, presenting beautifully, always present well. The Aussies in their green and gold. And in the background there, Pat Coogan, the New Zealand judge. He's from the King Country. He's also been involved in sheepdog trialling for many, many years. And involved in 6 tests with Australia as well. So pretty experienced character. Scott with Lucy just getting them through that first gap now, setting them up, and see that big guy at the back. I don't like the look at him at all, but if the other two can hold him with them, it might be all right. But he just hasn't put his head down, has he? Look at him, standing and facing the dog. He's taking them through. There he goes. What's he going to do? Will he take off? Gets a bit of a trot on. I think he was pretty good. I think it ended up being a nice move in the end. Oh, there he goes, little spook. So Scott catching up to the sheep, holding his side. Lucy out here on the right, holding that draw where the pressure is. And Scott steps in, that big sheep. He just won't take his eye off Lucy. He doesn't trust her at all, does he? Now he's spun around, he's having a look at Scott as well. So in the middle's where is a good spot for him, I think. He's been breaking left. And Scott's got his work cut out. He's having to press pretty hard to get that sheep to move off him. They don't seem too bothered by the humans. They seem more concerned about the dogs, which is what we want. But this is a partnership we need the sheep to react to both the handlers and the dogs, because the shepherding's a very important part of this New Zealand section of the trial. And the Kiwis, they'd be pretty familiar with all of that stuff. Maybe not so familiar with the merino sheep, though. They can be a little difficult. I just walked across the mouth of that Maltese cross now. Scott steps in, does his bit. In they go. All right, straight through or turning. They're having a little look. And that's where Jeff got caught out in the last run. He just wasn't quite prepared for that. He thought he had him and got a little bit caught out. So Scott's learned from that mistake. Got himself in a good position. Now the second half. Out on the far side, Bill Davison with the buggy. Comes around. He just sets himself up so he can line up nicely. And you can see them just milling around the opening there. Scott steps in. He's gone across the face again. Lucy, that arrow tail sticking out, holding her side. In they go. Nicely done. Good little move. It's got to keep him going. Doesn't want him ducking out the wrong way. There they go. Out the right way. That's the way. Just going to get Lucy just to walk in there and just clear it. And away they go. So, into the drive. Scott switched sides. He's going to bring the dog off to the left. Walking nicely. Checks his watch. There we go, 15 minutes of sheepdog trialling. Combined New Zealand Australian course. Trans-Tasman course. And a challenge for everybody with these sheep out there. And these weather conditions. A little lull at the moment, so it's still breezy but not gusting. We had hail, we had thunder and lightning and rain and everything early this morning. I had to batten down the hatches for a little while. It's cleared up a little bit, fortunately. But those testing conditions make it tough. Good for the dogs, cool out there. It's not too warm. And good for the sheep. The livestock don't get bothered by the heat, but they can soak up a bit of water and from the rain and makes them a bit heavy to move. Scott's just stepping across the handler's line now, and in they go. So, bridge, turned out. Little jump. Up they go. Did that very well. They were a bit touchy there for a second, and that just gives us a bit of an indication they could give him some trouble at the pen, because they just got a little bit flinchy as the pressure came on. So he's asking Lucy to go up onto the bridge now, because they've camped up there for the second. Lucy's right up behind them. They're turning on her. A lot of pressure now. She's got to get them off, and she's got to get them off in a nice way if she can. Little whisper in their ear. Off they come. Good job. Lucy, nice and strong, walking in there. Imagine how that would feel for a little dog in the confines of that bridge. 3 big sheep turning into face her. But she was up to the task. She just stepped in there and said, well, you're going to go and I'm not going to have anything else but. And she did it beautifully. So he's off to the pen. He's just got him grazing and relaxed. Hasn't upset him. But that big guy that hasn't put his head down at all is still setting the pace. Scott's walking, heading towards that handler's circle. He's got him walking nicely, moving nicely. Lucy comes to the front just to put up a little block. And they've got a habit of breaking on this side of that pen. They like to head back home. So the more pressure you can apply on this side might keep them in the game. Little trot on now, heading towards the opening. Scott steps in the circle, don't want him down the side. What's he going to do? Head down the side once. And there he is. That's that sheep. We thought he might give us some trouble. He just got a little bit of pace on himself and decided I'm not going to go with the other two and slip down the side. And now he feels a little bit isolated and he's getting a bit panicky. It's got him tucked in behind the gate. He's got to pull him out. Here he comes. What's he going to do? He's going to lead him in. Oh, he's led him around. That can happen. You think the other two are settled and they might just suck him into the pen, but often when the runner comes past, the other two join the race. So the tension builds just a little more for the New Zealanders. This pen has really proved the undoing of a lot of trialers, and that wasn't the whistle, that was the train, luckily. Train in the background, so that might have caused the heart to skip a beat a second there. But they're just not happy, are they? They just spun around the second side. So, and it's that big guy again. Look at him. Twisting and turning, trying to lead them away. He's trouble with a capital T. Here we go. Better position now. Up, down the side again. And here we go. On the edge. Big guy, nose to nose. That's a better position. Roll them around. No explosion. That sheep's taken a step forward towards Lucy. Nose, nipped him on the nose. In they go. What a dog. What a job. Get that gate shut before the whistle goes. Ladies and gentlemen, wow. Scott Hunter and Lucy giving us all a bit of a heart attack, but getting the gate shut for the New Zealand team. So Grant Cook, Grass Valley Bluey. It's our next Australian competitor. Jeff Gibson, the last Australian out, scored a 74.75. And just out on the ground, Scott Hunter with Lucy will wait on his score. And judges are ready, Grant's ready, steps to the handler's post. So Bluey had a great run yesterday in the test match, but made a little indiscretion at the pen, cost him a full section. So after a great run, she just let herself down at the pen. Had a little nip on one of the sheep. And the judges deemed it bad enough to take a full section. So she's impressive on these sheep. She's worked them well. She just doesn't need to overdo it. So away she goes out on the left-hand side. You can see she's a fairly light coloured dog with that ticking or merling, they call it. Not a true merle, but a ticking. And it gives her that blue colour. So Bluey, a fitting name for a Bluey dog. She's arrived fairly tight, but hasn't bothered the sheep. They've been pretty happy and they've lifted pretty straight. I'm just wondering a little bit now off to the right. Bluey makes an adjustment. Just can't let them drift too far if she can help it. Look like three fairly even sheep. All of their heads down. I don't know what they put in this grass on this oval, but the sheep seem to like it. Bluey just steps in now, gets them moving again. You got plenty of time to snack sheep when the trial's over, but this is business today, all business. We're in the middle of a test match, and it's tight at the top. Oh, here we go. That middle sheep's decided to come and test Bluey out. It wouldn't be the best thing for the sheep to do that, but it also might not be great for Grant if Bluey does take control too much. So she's just got them halfway down the ground now. Inching them closer to where Grant's standing. Got to bring them down on his left-hand side. And just having a little bit of a wander around. Not really going anywhere. And now the confrontation starts. Bluey steps in, away they go. So with every battle there has to be a victor, and so far Bluey is dominating. With 2 scores posted for the Australian team and 2 scores posted for the Kiwis, it's pretty tight. We've got 164 for the Aussies, 164.5 for the Aussies, and 152.5 for the Aussies with half the test completed. A lead of 12 points. So nothing in it really. It just takes one little hiccup and it all changes. So Grant Cook out there at the moment, holding up Australia's end. Ran a couple of dogs in the Supreme Top 20 earlier today. He's already had a big day. Didn't have a lot of luck. Didn't make it through to the top 10. That's still a great result to get into the top 20 with 2 dogs in the field that was presented this week at the Geelong High Pro Supreme. And now it's Bluey's turn to shine, and she's just reversing backwards, giving him somewhere to go. And see, she's pretty quick. Not a young dog. She's been around the trial circuit for a lot of years. Oh, she just got him bumped. Had a little breakaway. Had to be quick. And they started off pretty settled, and now they've got a little bit lively. Now they're running again. Same sheep. Out he goes. 3 different directions. He's working hard to keep them in that corridor and keep them on track, because they just want to break everywhere at the moment. And while these guys are at the very top of the tree in the trialling sense, still a huge amount of pressure. Fighting for your country. It's a friendly rivalry, but it's a rivalry all the same, and bragging rights goes to the winner. And it's been the Kiwis that have won more often than not. Bluey just put in some nice little blocks there, just built a little fence. And he's got them sticking a bit closer together now without too much running. Here they go again, breaking out to the right of the course. He's going to try and settle him in front of this obstacle, that gap. Grant takes his position. Bluey just manoeuvres them towards that opening. One's had a little look. He just wants them to walk through, not run through if he can. If they run and take off, it takes a bit of catching. Now he's taken off, little jump. Bluey's onto it. Onto it again. And these dogs really like to head their sheep. They like to head them, but it's a driving position. Grant's away. Bluey's away and the sheep are away. It's a foot race. Now they're breaking out on the wrong side of the course. What's he done? He's got them. He's turned them nicely. Well done, Grant. In towards that Maltese cross. And that didn't take any time at all. They really scurried across the ground to get to that section. That was a bit of heart in the mouth stuff. He was hanging on for dear life. They could have ended up anywhere, and he settled them right in front of that Maltese cross. So really good work in the end. They're set to go. So just down the side, nearly, no. Oh, Grant's there, turns it out. This time. Better set this time, looking for the opening. They can see there's escape down that side. It's clear. And that wind has just picked up and we can hear it swirling in the office. A little bit of a shower coming through too. And they're just not really looking to go anywhere. They're camping up in there. They think it's a good place to hide by the look of it. And Bluey holds her side. And out they come. So far so good. Oh, one's gone back in. What's going to happen here? And just swirling at the opening, and Bluey just won't leave them alone. Oh, they've gone all the way back through. All right, so he can do that section again. They did complete the first half. Now they're in for the second half. Bluey's just firing up. I don't think Grant's happy with her at the moment. She's really got her tail up. And they've just stopped in the middle. He needs Bluey to come here. Not that way. Not that way. Okay. So they've come out the wrong way this time. Well, this isn't looking so good for Grant. Got a bit messy. And I've got a feeling Bluey might not be listening. Maybe she's just got a little bit of a head of steam up because these conditions, the stirry sheep, the stirry wind. And Grant's just pulled her head in a little bit now. Now she's settled. Well, that was tough. But they're away. And that lead sheep's making a run for it. So is Grant. It's a foot race, all right. And sometimes sheep can get a little bit too fast. He got there. He just stopped that lead sheep. And now he's just spun it around. He's not to get in front of that leader sheep. And he's not allowed to walk backwards. Well, they're allowed to do anything really, but with all of those things cause a loss of points, and some of them are more than others. And a step backwards is quite costly. Stepping into the working area before the sheep get there is also costly, and also stepping in front of your lead sheep is costly. So big points for those indiscretions. There's always a point or two you'll lose in a sheepdog trial, and you've got to bear with those. But when you're in control, try to avoid the big points. So we're at the bridge, and things are not looking super relaxed. The sheep just got a little bit antsy there and turned on the dog. Okay, Grant, he's a cool customer. He's been around the traps, just thought it through, settled things down, and got it done. So he's going to ask Bluey to come back around behind him. Doesn't want him back on the bridge. Back around in front of the bridge at least. He just had a little manoeuvre there to get Bluey just to tuck in on their tail and get them moving. And you can see things are not really relaxed out there. Everything's a bit fast. Everything's a bit sudden. He's taken no time at all to get through here. Had a little bit of trouble at the Maltese cross. Might have ticked a bit of time away. Grant's not in a hurry to get to the pen. He's just taking his time and getting things settled. If he can get these sheep walking and comfortable with Bluey and not feeling the pressure of Bluey, they might just walk in. But yesterday, after a terrific run, they got to the pen and things went a little bit haywire. He shut the gate and got him in, but not without a little bit of controversy. So Grant Cook, Grass Valley Bluey, inching closer to that opening. Getting to that handler's circle now. They're looking to go for the gap. Bluey's there. She can swing over quickly. They're well positioned. Straight in. Straight in. Grant's happy. He's going for the gate. Well, of all the pens we've seen this afternoon, that was probably the top one so far. Grant Cook, Grass Valley Bluey, shutting the gate for Australia. We'll get a score shortly. So Ben Miller with King stepping to the handler's post. Scott Hunter, New Zealand, with Lucy, scored a 79, a very good 79. Just finished out there, Grant Cook, Grass Valley Bluey, getting the gate shut for Australia. We'll wait on his score as Ben sends King out on his cast. Ben, the youngest competitor in our test teams, only 24 years old, only trialling for 4 years. And he's got a 4-year-old dog, so a bit of a prodigy. But I think the family's been involved in sheepdog trialling for a long time and sheep work generally. So whilst he's a young fellow, he's pretty experienced in lots of things. I want to see what King can do. He's arrived pretty nicely so far, and he's got them lifted and they're on their way. So the cast, lift and draw is first section, around behind where Ben is standing. And then we go into the Australian part of the course. And the Australian carry on our right-hand side in a 9-metre corridor. So the first section, pretty much the same around the world. A cast and draw judged on the lift, the cast, the lift, and the draw or the pickup or the carry down the ground towards the handler. And ideally in these Trans-Tasman tests, it's a straight line and they're judged on a 9-metre corridor, so 4.5 metres either way break will cost you a point. And ideally, if you can pick them up from where they are and straight line to where you are, you'll save yourself some points. But these sheep, they've got a mind of their own and they choose where they go at any given time. And they're pretty good at turning and facing the dog and swirling around and just drifting off course. Just going for little runs. Haven't really visited every part of the course as some sheep can, but they just do that, what they just did then. They just have a little gallop around. And when you're working in a 9-metre corridor, those little breaks, doesn't take much for them to step out of the tram lines and cost you a point. And King, fast-moving dog, beautiful shape. Picture of concentration, head down. And you'll watch, if you get close enough to see that dog, you'll see his eyes. He'll be flicking those eyes on one sheep onto the other, just reading the situation, anticipating, making sure that the sheep that's going to give him trouble has been covered. And see, he just pulls his shoulders out. Moves to the outside, moves to the inside and gets them rolling. And there'll be one of those sheep of the three that'll be a bit touchier than the others. And that's the one that'll set the agenda for the day. We've seen throughout the course of the trial that there's always one, and there he goes off behind to where Ben's going. Little gallop up, and it's that smoother bodied one at the front, putting it to King. King's there right under his nose. He just pushed him back in with the others and said, well, you're not going anywhere. Beautiful bit of work. So Ben's chosen to take the stroll. He's walking up the ground. He's got him pretty well placed on his right-hand side. Having a little run, not too much damage. King's there catching them. Just puts the dog in front so the sheep can't run past him, and then opens the gate now, opens the corridor up for the sheep. And they didn't move, so King comes around and makes the move. And just a little breakaway off to the side. And that's that point pinching they do. They just put a foot out of the corridor or a body out of the corridor, and it doesn't cost you a lot, but it costs you one. And then when they do it again, it costs you another, and there they go again. But early in the trial, and early to get the dog in contact with those sheep, getting working, trying to break them in a little bit. Just educate them that it's okay to move off the dog. If they move off the dog, you'll leave you alone. And here they go again, little heads up, making a run for it. And Ben takes up his position. And King almost pulls sideways when he flanks, twists his body. Doesn't take ground. There we go again. Nice arc around. Doesn't upset his sheep as he's changing position. And then when he gets to the right point, he takes a step in. Head low. A little bit different to Diesel early in the piece. He'd put his chest up, stand up and get his head high. Whereas King, he just goes low. He's got him nicely positioned. And, wow, they just walk through there so beautifully. And they're in a good frame of mind right now, so let's keep it that way. Away we go. Ben's on the drive. You see, he just signals with his hand. He can move those sheep himself, and it is his job to hold his side. And the shepherding is permitted. And encouraged, in fact. This is really important that you do your bit. And now they've just got away from him a bit. Got ahead of him and got away. So he switched sides. Brings King back in. You see, he makes himself big. They just have to swap sides again. Each time they change positions or change sides, there's a point deduction. Nothing too bad. Better to do that than to lose the sheep. But they've broken out either side as well. So could be a couple of points there as well. For those of you trying to figure out how the scoring works. And in the Kiwi section, you can lose 1 point or even half a point. So that's why the 0.75s come up in the scoring. It's not full points always. So for little indiscretions, the judge might only take half a point. So Ben's manoeuvred them now with King into that working area. And now we're about to work the Maltese cross. Grant Cook's scores come up. He scored a 76.25. And now it's up to Ben. Australians first up in this round. So they're always going to be a little bit ahead in the scoring until the next trialer takes his position. Ben just manoeuvring those sheep into the Maltese cross. One's having a look down the wrong way. We don't want it down there. And Ben can't step into the mouth of the exit there. He has to just hold his position. And he can't reach over the fence. And that sheep's not impressed. He's in a really bad position because if King steps in, he could squeeze out the side. There he goes. Turned him nicely. And out they come. Well, they've just been going into that Maltese cross and just having a little stop and a little camp there. And it could be the wind, it could be the weather, or it could be just that they've just got a little bit heavier throughout the day and just decided, well, this is a good spot to stay. We don't need to move. Second part, Maltese cross. Ben got his arms flapping, not quick enough, not strong enough, and they got past him. And he didn't look too happy about it, did he? But there's nothing you can do. You see how much more impressed the sheep are of the dog than they are of the human. They're really not that bothered about the people. They'll move off them a little bit, but it's really the dog that has to do all the bulk of the work. And they're pretty happy to run through the human. Not so happy to run through King. So lines them up this time. They were looking better. In they go. Need them straight. Don't turn left. Don't turn right. And they've done it again. They've camped up. They've just stopped for a second. He's got those arms flapping. In this wind, he wouldn't want to flap too much. He might take off. There he goes. Gets them moving. So Ben Miller with King heading towards the bridge. Just trying to set them up now for the next part of the drive. He's got just over 4 minutes left in his trial. Plenty of time. But he didn't pen yesterday in his run. He just ran out of time at the pen. So he'd be aware of that. He wouldn't want to muck around. Want to get this section done. It just took a little while. I don't know where he's wasting his time, but probably at the Maltese Cross just took a little longer than he would have liked. But 4 minutes, plenty of time to get to the pen if he gets a move on. Oh, they're just challenging him again. Oh, Ben's going to work up a sweat too, but look at him. He's working really hard. King's doing his bit. Ben's doing his bit. And the sheep are just not playing the game. They're just looking at the dog and standing still. Here they go. Onto the bridge. Well, that little bit of work he's put in there could be the difference. He's impressed them enough. He's got them moving. They went straight over the bridge. No trouble at all. Once he got them moving. So Ben, he stands still. He can't start moving. Well, he can, but he'll start losing points. So he starts moving. He starts carrying them. So the first step he takes on the completion of the bridge is the commencement of his carry over to the pen. So he's got to keep him on his right-hand side in that 9-metre corridor. He was just caught out of position fractionally because he needed to take that right-hand side of the bridge to work it. But then he also has to get himself going over onto the Australian part, the carry over to the pen. He's doing a good job now. They're really ticking along. And he's got a ton of time now. So he saved all that time, cleaned that bridge up pretty quickly. And if he does this well, he'll put New Zealand in a good position. Steps into this handler circle. Now, yesterday, the pen wasn't his friend. What can happen? Youngest member of the New Zealand and Australian team complete. Of the whole test teams, 24 years old, and he just popped them in the pen with barely a blink of the eye. That's a big relief for him. He's getting the gate shut. Ben Miller and King doing the job for New Zealand. So back to our trialling with Will Goggins taking the post, the last of our Australian Test team members, with his dog Valmarie Trixie. Trixie's had a run earlier today in the top 20. Not 100% sure how she went, whether she progressed or not. But she's had a big day already as well. So all of these test team dogs, or most of these test team dogs, have also performed pretty well in the Supreme run leading into the Trans-Tasman. So Trixie skirts away around. Will had a good run. First time representing Australia. Had a good run yesterday. Was the final Australian out and took the test home for Australia. Australia leading the series 1-0. 3 tests. Today things have tightened up just a little bit. And 2 of the Kiwis failed to pen yesterday, and it just left the door open for the Australians to pinch the test. But so far, there would be nothing between any of them. They're all pretty tight. So Will and Trixie are up there at the end of the outrun, just getting that first introduction done. Just got the heads up that Trixie was unsuccessful in getting through to the top 10, but Will has another dog in there, so he'll be pretty pleased with his day's work. And see Trixie head down, tail tucked. Just working in closer and closer to those sheep. And so much relies on the time of the day in these trials, and what could be a terrific run the day before can all fall in a hole the next day because of these really changes in weather we've had. We've had some sun bathed in sunshine, and then today we had a thunderstorm and hail. And the wind has been playing havoc at times. And once it comes up, some of the sheep really haven't enjoyed going out there. It's pretty good so far in the test. The wind's been pretty consistently bad, so everybody gets it. And just a little bit of sunshine poking through amongst those black clouds, but she's cold out there, that's for sure. And Trixie's working her sheep down towards Will. And spitting on the spot, inching them closer. Will's from New South Wales. New South Wales had 2 reps in the Australian team. Will and Mick Hudson both winning their way through from the Interstate Challenge earlier in the week. Grant Cook from Western Australia. And then Jeff Gibson from Queensland made up the 4. It was a tight contest in the Interstate Challenge, nothing between them. New South Wales also taking home the championship for the Interstate Challenge. So here comes the rain now. Unfortunately for Will, he looks like he's going to cop a bit of a drenching out there. There's Trixie. Whoops, Trixie's had a little go. They've had a break. Oh, she had to be quick. Bit of a challenge. I don't think that's rain, that's hail. Yeah, that's bouncing off the grass. Holy smoke. Well, we told you it was wild. And I'm not sure if you can even hear what I'm saying with the tin on the tin roof, but she's coming down, and the sheep are not going to be happy about being out in that. So Trixie's got her work cut out for her. She's having to weave left and right and trying to keep them working forward, and the hail's coming down. And now it's turned to rain, I think. But that's how cold it is out here in Geelong. And the rain has turned to ice and it's freezing. But these dogs are doing a terrific job in pretty tough conditions. He's got him nicely placed in the middle of that corridor, just off in his pocket. Oh, a little breakaway now. And Trixie's around, picking him up. You see that single sheep, he's given her trouble. Block, cover, hold. Spinning on her back legs. And back into the corridor, and then they're going to break around the other side. Oh, she's there. Just wheeled them back inside the corridor. And that sheep hasn't given up yet. You see him swing around the back. And Will, not flustered at all. Holding his position, walking towards that handler's circle. So, first obstacle, that little gap. And Trixie's lining them up now, got there in time. She just looks like she's so casual when she moves, but she's quick. Doesn't get flustered. And straight through. No trouble at all. She's on the head, just holding them on. Will just reverses her off. Ooh, they nearly made a run for it. Got behind him. Just got to try and bring her into a drive position so they can move in the right direction. They're just going the wrong way. For some reason, they've decided they're going to go back through that gap. And Will's having a bit of trouble starting them. There we go. That's a little better. Got them started, heading in the right direction. And that same sheep just spinning around. And this sometimes happens when a leader doesn't lead. They just decide to circle each other, and you'll see that in a big mob of sheep as well when the leaders don't come up. So he just almost shuffled them like a pack of cards to try and get the right sheep in the right position. And it's the one that's in the middle now that just keeps wanting to circle back. And he's trying to get that skinnier one out on the left to take the lead. Got him well positioned now in the middle. Sometimes the wrong sheep gets to the front and all he wants to do is circle back to his mates and not take them anywhere. Now that skinnier one has taken them all the way down the ground beautifully. That's a bit more of a relief. And they're looking pretty set up for that Maltese cross. And Will steps into the free working area. Oh, Trixie's just pushed him across. Just stepped in when she needed to step out. There she steps out. Will says, well, you'll get out of there, Trixie. That's not helping. So Will's going to come and try and just push him across. There she goes. Rolls them in. And again, they just pause in that middle. Like the crossroads, wondering where they're going to go next. And that's the difficult part of this obstacle, is that they can go anywhere. But they haven't. They've come out pretty nicely in the end. And Trixie's around. She's quick. Little breakaway. Look at her. Head down, bum up. Got to move in the right direction now. Lined up nicely. Oh, they've just had a little breakaway again. And in they go. Wow. Set them up, rolled them in, popped them through. So, onto the bridge. Will and Trixie back into that New Zealand drive as they head towards the bridge. Once again, a little bit of shuffling, get the right sheep in the right position. And there he goes, away they go. Yeah, the wrong one got just circled around and blocked them. So Trixie's got to work him again. Turn that sheep, head him in the right direction. There we go. Keep him going. Just having little pauses constantly and just hesitating, not really sure where they want to go. And that's sometimes an indication they haven't got a good leader. And they all just want to keep their heads next to each other and scrummed up if they can. The Will's working them gently, working them carefully, keeping him ticking over. Oh, and one just lagged off the back there for a sec. Just working towards the bridge, plenty of time. Oh, good block. Trixie was fast to cover that break. They were out of there if they could have been. Will's holding his end. And Trixie's just applying a bit too much pressure, so Will backs her off. And lining them up for the bridge. Just had to look at her. They didn't go. Well positioned. Still not going. Oh, a little break. Cover, hold. Oh, well. It was hard to even get the words out. It was so quick. She did beautifully. Spinning on the spot almost. And off they go. Okay, so Will's got himself in a good position. Going to set his sheep up on his right-hand side. Try not to upset him. Trixie has to come around and catch them before they break. They've had a little break. Trixie's there, holding her side. Will stepping out, striding out. Heading to the pen. Sheep have got a bit of a head of steam up now. Look at them run. Goodness. Need their minds to be right. The pen has proven to be in the undoing of a couple of our early trialers. They've all managed to shut the gate so far, but some of them had a run around. Wasn't as tidy as they like. And whilst it looks like they are all pretty settled, they get to that pen and they just start to get a little bit stirred up. They just get stirry and start thinking about it. So Ben Miller from New Zealand as they approach the pen. Will Goggin approaches the pen. Oh, they've slipped down the side, through the gap. Ben Miller from New Zealand, our last trialer out, he scored a terrific 81 points. And that was a great result. So Will, the last of our Australians, will be wanting to post a pretty good score to give us a decent lead coming into the final run. And these sheep are not helping a great deal. A little break down the side of that pen. Just setting them up. Tippy-toeing forward. Just edge them towards that hinge of the gate if you can. The gate's got a slide angle on it, so you can just walk them down that gate. Inching towards it. Heads are in the right direction. One's had a look. Two. Trixie's in there. Doesn't need an explosion now. Just needs to be gentle. She sits down, takes the pressure off. They've wandered in. Will's going for the gate. She covers her side. Will Goggin from Australia's last trialer getting the gate shut. With his little dog Trixie doing a terrific job. We'll wait on his score. And our last New Zealand competitor will be at the handler's post shortly. So it all comes down to this Leo Edgington with Roxy. Strides out to the handler's post, gives his dog a big pat before he gets there. The judge signals with his red flag waving. We're ready to go. It's tight, it's tough, and there's really not much in it. A good score here could pinch it. And the buzzer goes. So Roxy's away, out to the right. Beautiful tri-coloured bitch. Nice and deep on the cast, right on the fence line. And Leo just asked her to sit for a second. Take your time. Big distance away from the sheep at the moment. He'll need to break that down a little bit to get in contact with them. And the sheep haven't really acknowledged the dog just yet. They've just gone for a little wander. And here they go. Sheep have seen her. And now we're in business. They haven't looked at her yet. They've just spotted her and said, well, we better get out of here, and started moving. And so far, so good. Pretty straight. There's a bit of a gander. Two of the sheep popped their heads up and felt the dog's presence. And now the third guy has too. So they know about the dog. She's just got to grip hold of them and get them in a straight line to where Leo is standing. It's been a pretty tough test and a hard test. Conditions have made the difference. It's been fairly even, although poor old Will copped a hailstorm. I reckon he wouldn't have been too bothered about it, representing Australia in the green and gold out there and getting the gate shot on the pen. A little bit of hail wouldn't have worried him too much. But the sunshine's broken through, still windy. You see gusty winds. And Leo and Roxy is trying to manoeuvre those sheep down around behind the winding peg, the handler's post. Keep them in that corridor marked by the orange cones. Got them pretty good at the moment. And once again, a big sheep at the front leading the way, head up. And he's brought them straight around. And Roxy's around on this side, just spun them back a bit. he's already showing that he might be a bit of problems. Now he's in contact with the dog. He's had a bit of a run. And Leo might have just sent her the wrong way then, because they got away from her. Had a little bit of a hesitation. Just as that big blast of wind came through, maybe she didn't quite pick up his command and just broke off to the far side of the course. She's got him back now, bringing him back on course. Stepping into the corridor now. There's Roxy out onto the head. Pulls up. Gets the sheep to pause. Now he moves again. Now she moves again. She moves out and around. And it's like Groundhog Day out there. Two grazing, one with its head up. Seems to be the case with every threesome we get. There's always one sheep that just doesn't seem to be settled, and it's this big plain-bodied one at the front again. Stomping his feet, facing the dog. A little bit taller than the other two. And see him rolling around, looking for somewhere to go. The other two got a bit of a spook as Leo walked past. So Roxy, she's got her work cut out for her here. And see that wind just blowing the uniforms, blasting away. They approached that first gap, got them pretty nicely positioned. And that lead sheep, taking them through. We like that. Leo just pulls up Roxy so she doesn't go and head them and turn them back. And they're onto their drive. Trying to keep them in the centre of that 15-metre corridor. Gives them the best chance of not losing points from them breaking out. They're working pretty nicely. Settled. And here they go. A little trot on now. Leo's picked up the pace. Roxy breaking out far right. Holding her side. Now Leo just comes in, just trying to push them across that handler's line. And they're stepping into that working area. Not quite there yet. You see Roxy just taking a little bit of pressure from her side to step in and make sure they go straight. And they just both step in and both squeeze the sheep. What can they do? Oh, a little jump. In they go. Straight through, no hesitation this time. That was nice. Beautifully done. Trixie and Leo doing a great job so far. Last competitor in the second test, representing New Zealand. There he is. He's got his arms spread wide, making himself as big as he can, building a wall as he tries to block them from going out. Oh, one slipped down the side. See if he can just roll them around the edge of that panel. And in they go. And out the other side. So Will Goggin posted a score of 74 for Australia. So Leo out there at the moment with Trixie needs an 81.25 to draw. Anything better than an 81.25 will win the test for New Zealand. And he's on a pretty good run at the moment, so it's tight. Very doable. And he's done a pretty good job to get here so far. Hasn't had too many hiccups. A point here and a point there, nothing major. Leo and Roxy approaching the bridge. Straight over. Pauses for a second while Roxy catches the sheep. And away he goes. Back on course, a little bit of a run. It's that distance that Roxy gives, just settles those sheep, just stays out wide, doesn't upset them, able to get around behind them without impacting on them. And she's so quick, covers the ground so quickly, but without influencing the sheep. And they had a little run again. Still on course, still okay. See, she just glides around, steps in. We're heading to the pen. Leo's taking his time. Edging closer. Just a little bit off course on the far side. Oh, a little jump. Got a spook then, that sheep. Got a surprise. Didn't need that as he's heading towards the pen. He wanted him to be settled. They've slowed down. Are they going to get around the outside? He's put Roxy at the back of the pen, blocked him up. Here they go around the outside. They're making a run for it. Roxy needed to be quick. Hasn't been super tidy so far in this section. They've just got a little bit of a stir up. They're going to negotiate them closer to that opening. Leo with Roxy. Trying to keep everything calm. Just moving them towards that opening. Roxy steps in, heads to the sheep down, grazing. We saw a moment ago when she surprised them, they got a bit of a jump up. They're just not moving off her yet. She's going to have to come in a little more. Lifts her head up, turns them. Heading in the right direction. On this side now. And looking for that gap. Roxy's there. Stomp with the feet. So they're a bit closer. They're a little bit closer to the opening. Just trying to roll them around. It's not costing points at the moment. It's just time. They're not really making a run. You've got plenty of time to get it done. Oh, little jump down the side. Not too far. She was there. Roxy got him. They may just slip around now. She can just roll them over the lip of that panel. Pushing them towards the hinge of the gate. That's what he needs to do. He's caught that lead sheep. Not letting her go anywhere. Roxy's got him. And just shuffle them around. Here she goes, turning their heads. They just broke out a little bit as well. They just took a metre off the front there, and he's got to push them back again without letting them get down the side. So far they haven't really learned that they can escape. Here we go, that's better. Heads in the right direction. Oh, she's turned them that way. Turn them back again. They're right in the mouth. He'll go for it as soon as they step in. He'll go for it. There he goes. Get that gate shut. Leo Edgington with Roxy getting the gate shut for New Zealand and completing our test match.
To keep your dogs healthy and on the go, beat 'em. High Pro, that's the go.
Oh, I love High Pro Premium because it's just great nutrition for the dogs and gives them plenty of stamina for their work on the farm and keep their coats and everything else in great condition. Quality food like High Pro Premium ensures sustained energy levels for efficient handling of livestock.
High Pro, that's the go. High Pro, that's the go. Get behind.
Our mission at High Pro Pet Foods is to become the global leader of innovative and quality pet foods made with care in the heart of the Hawkesbury Valley, Australia. I'm John Camilleri, I'm the Managing Director of High Pro Pet Foods. High Pro started in the mid-90s as a stock food manufacturer out of a small shed, and we ran out of that for the first 5 years. Today High Pro Pet Foods has become one of our major players in the market. The focus today is all about respecting your animal, the food and nutrition, and looking after its well-being. Quality assurance is the most important thing in making pet food. We source through our quality control management plan, where the certification processes are quite in-depth process. A lot of ingredients go in to make a top quality dog food and cat. Traceability is critical. We've put systems in place to do that. We can trace every ingredient back to its source to give assurance to the pet owner on their quality. We have a full service production line to cater across the board for all of our products. High Pro Pet Foods has grown to become a parent company to a number of brands including Dog Pro, Cat Pro, Supervite, High Pro Premium, Pure Life, Bark and Beyond and many more. I have a team. They're always innovating and making new products, new packaging, new design of recipes. We've invested a lot in robotics, we've invested a lot in automation for the future. Today High Pro Pet Foods has grown to 140 staff. A lot of my children have worked in the business and still are.
So we're back here live and we have the results of the second test. Australia-New Zealand. Australia scored a total of 314.75, defeating New Zealand, who scored 312.25, a lead of 2.5 points. Australia winning the second test here in Geelong. We bring you this third test, 7:30 tomorrow morning Eastern Time, and Australia leading 2-1, so obviously a little bit of a dead rubber, but still going to be a hard-fought test. We'll look forward to seeing you then.